Good morning. Today is Thursday, January 13th, and it is a green day. Tomorrow will be a gear day. That means you may wear visible SJA gear on top with dress code appropriate bottoms. Attention sophomores and juniors interested in applying for membership to the National Honor Society. The NHS application can be found at bit.ly/SJA-NHS22. The application deadline is tomorrow, Friday, January 14th. Please direct any questions to Mrs. Reed at allison.reed@scjlabs.com or by stopping by the guidance office. Good morning, class of 2023. It is that time of year. On April 13th, there will be a school SAT offered for those who are interested. You should have received a Google form in your SCJ Labs email. Please make sure you fill out this form by February 9th. Please email Ms. Carr, ecarr@scjacademy.org with any questions. Good morning, class of 2024. It is that time of year for you as well. On April 13th, there will be a school day PSAT offered for those who are interested. You should have received a Google form in your SCJ Labs email. Please make sure you fill out this form by February 9th. Please email Ms. Carr with any questions. Science Olympiad will meet this afternoon in Streeter 241 from 3:30 to 4:30. Please let Mr. Eckel know if you have a conflict. Knitting Club will start up again next Thursday, January 20th, in Severance 16. Winter is a great time to knit, and we just got a new donation of yarn, so come on over and start a new project. No experience or equipment necessary. As a reminder, if you borrow needles from us in the fall, please bring them back. You can drop them with Dr. Voorhees or Mrs. Breen anytime, or come back to club and keep working on your project. Are you already stressed and school has just begun? Looking for a place to relax with yoga, meditation, and good conversation? Time to Relax Club starts up next Monday after school. Come learn a variety of ways to relax with a chill group. We're upstairs in the library conference room. Join the outing club for our first ice climbing trip of the season. No experience, no worries. We have a highly trained staff that will teach you the techniques needed to scale frozen waterfalls. Step outside your comfort zone and start the semester outright by joining us this Sunday, January 16th. The trip will depart from Brandview Drive at 9:30 and be back around 3 p.m. If you are interested, you must see Mr. Weiss for a boot fitting and get a permission slip from Campus Life. See Mr. Weiss or Mr. Bowen for details about the trip. Today we have gymnastics versus CVU at 7. Good luck and have a great day.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to those of you that I haven't had a chance to see yet. We have a special presentation this morning for you all. Monday, when your faculty and staff were here, we welcomed them back with some presentations from some very special students who had some work with some leadership training over the course of the beginning of December and then throughout January as we started to work together. So Mrs. Reed and myself had a chance to work with these student leaders. They attended a leadership conference called the Student Diversity Leadership Conference. And for you to know, their goal was simple: to listen, to engage with other students, to think about what ideas are coming up around the country and around the world, to have the opportunity to hear their stories, and to begin to dream about a path forward for all schools where we can continue to grow and believe and belong. So to provide some context for you, I'm going to invite Maddie to the stage, and then she's going to introduce and close both of the speakers this afternoon or this morning. So please welcome Maddie.
Good morning. So last month, a few of us participated in an online conference called the National Association of Independent Schools Student Diversity and Leadership Conference, or as we called it, SDLC. Every day for a week, for a total of at least 4.5 hours, we would be on Zoom participating in different activities. We were connected both intimately and at large with students across the country who, in some way, shape, or form, wanted to help make the world a better, more inclusive place. Our first interactive experience that we had as a part of SDLC was through what was called the silent movement. Each participant was required to turn their camera off, and slowly, the moderators went through different forms of identity, asking the participants to turn their camera on if they felt they fell under that title. There was at least one person who turned their camera on for every single identifier listed, and we all found it moving to see. Following this daily larger meeting, which on other days was a panel or a demonstration, we would then go into our affinity groups, which were groups sorted by different racial and sexual identifiers, such as South Asian, Jewish, Black/African American, LGBTQ+, etc. These were smaller groups, although many still held over 200 students, that were catered towards the students themselves. We were encouraged to only join the group that we felt comfortable speaking the I perspective from. These groups allowed us to form tighter communities with those whom we shared an identity, while also allowing us to learn and grow within them. Towards the end of the day, we would have family groups. These were groups of about 30 students, a typical class size, and we would spend 2.5 hours within these groups. Our family groups really became just that, a family, and we were able to learn and hear one another in a more intimate environment than previously. Overall, the week that we experienced was one of joy, presence, and learning. Because of SDLC, we were given a new perspective on the things that the Academy is doing well when it comes to racial and sexual inclusivity, but also where we can improve. Each of my fellow students will speak a little bit as to their experiences in the conference as a whole or within their affinity group, and a few other students that didn't attend the conference but felt compelled to speak on a related topic will follow them. As they do so, I encourage you to try and picture a St. Johnsbury Academy where these feelings of inclusivity and belonging, but also of constant learning and bettering, are accessible every single day. We still have much work to do before this becomes a reality, but the first steps have already been taken, and it is this that will give us the hope and motivation needed to create a school like the one you've pictured. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Rory Higgs. My pronouns are he, him. You may know me as the Secretary of the Class of 2023, Secretary of Student Government, the National Honor Society, or from singing the national anthem at every home game. It was an honor to be selected to attend this conference, and I have learned so much about myself and hundreds of others in the conference, especially when I was in the LGBTQ+ affinity group. After attending SDLC, it opened my eyes to how proud I am of myself, to have come out and still have accomplished so many things I never knew I could do. Sharing my experiences, struggles, and accomplishments with SDLC was very humbling. Many students had shared experiences about their schools being not as progressive as other schools and don't provide safety for students of color or a part of the LGBTQ community. The St. Johnsbury Academy is a very inclusive school, and I'm so proud to be in this community and to be able to feel safe standing on this stage talking to you all. As I've come to see throughout my time here, students part of the LGBTQ+ community are scared of what they can and cannot do in a school's community, especially in extracurriculars like sports teams or student government. I want my actions to help pave the way for students to gain more confidence in themselves no matter their sexual orientation or color, and that is very difficult and tiring. But in SDLC, I got to see people my age with similar experiences and the nerve to make change just like me. Seeing them made me realize that I was never alone fighting, never alone going through tough times, and I never want anyone to feel as if they are alone. What I want us all to hear as we leave this stage today is that we can make a difference in our community and help make it a place where nobody feels alone. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Day Ingham, and I am from Bermuda. I am 16 years old, and I am a Black woman. Being a Black woman and being from Bermuda are both very important to who I am. When coming here, it felt very overwhelming having limited people that look like me. At times in school, it can feel lonely having the lack of representation. This was really prominent when I would be the only Black person or even dorm student in my class. It felt like no one could relate to me, and thus, me not being able to relate to anyone else. It was hard for me to be myself, and I felt as though I was constantly being compared to stereotypes. We need you to know that sometimes there are topics in class that make any one of us feel anxious. For me, topics such as slavery promotes the feeling that everyone is looking at me as I am supposed to know all. I have learned to adapt, but I need you to know how. I have now made myself comfortable. I have a strong sense of who I am and what I would like to become. But sometimes I still get anxious when it comes to me coming to school with a new hairstyle or when questions are not properly formulated. However, when the question is asked, what do the adults in the world need to hear in efforts to help us thrive? I feel like it is my responsibility to communicate some of my anxieties in efforts to help decrease the amount of anxiety that some new Black students may face when coming to a predominantly white school in the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont. We know we belong. We need you to know how to help us.
Good morning. My name is Emma Suker. I'm a senior and a dorm student here at St. Johnsbury Academy. I came to the academy as a junior, and I had some trouble finding my place here as a person coming in partway through high school. Some of the challenges I faced were definitely due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But I think it's important it's an important thing to work on as a school is making sure that everyone feels like there's a place for them, especially with the challenges we are facing in the world right now. The Student Diversity Leadership Conference was an extremely transformative experience for me. Before the conference, I had never experienced such a safe, judgment-free environment. This environment made it so that we could have the important but difficult conversations without any judgment on what we had to say about things. Such as in the LGBTQIA Infinity Group. In this group, we were able to discuss the challenges we have faced for people who have an understanding of these challenges, and we were also able to brainstorm ways that our schools could help lessen these challenges during the school days. One thing we discussed was the school dress codes and the differences between genders at many schools. I know that here at the Academy, changes have already been made to create a non-binary dress code, which is definitely a step in the right direction towards inclusivity. As the group of students who attended SDLC, we have hopes of and are working towards creating spaces like the ones we experienced in the conference throughout the school with help from teachers and administration. I'm looking forward to everything this semester has in store. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Aiden Kimball, and I am a current junior here at the St. Johnsbury Academy. I use the pronouns he, him. Let me start by saying how much I appreciate this opportunity. This has been a life-changing experience, and I look forward to continuing the work in our school. Being of the St. Johnsbury Academy community is like nothing I have ever experienced. Where else can you go in such a rural place and see such diversity? We live in a very isolated part of the world, and being here celebrating so many different types of people, from race to religion, sexuality, and gender identity, is a very powerful experience. Let's be real for a second. Times are changing, and they're changing quickly. As a school community, we must continue to work together to adapt to our ever-changing world. We cannot wait, as the time is now. Each and every single person has the right to represent themselves for who they truly are. On these given days and times, it can be hard to do so, fearing the embarrassment and the hatred that may surround them. As a school, the goal is to make a welcoming environment for all. I think we do that very well, but there is always room to improve. Throughout the conference, I learned that we are all going to make mistakes. We need to help one another to do so and allow ourselves the grace to improve on our mistakes. One thing I want to make sure we all remember as we begin the semester is that everyone has a different story, but we all want to feel heard.
Hello again. These next few speakers, myself included, did not participate in SDLC. However, when we were told that they were going to be addressing you all, we felt compelled to share these messages as well. One of the aspects of the Academy that I have loved the most is the importance of building community. As students, we are struggling. We are hurting for a sense of community, a community that the juniors and seniors once experienced and one that our freshmen and sophomores have not. I know that learning and socializing right now are more difficult than ever, but that is what makes this need so urgent. As this new semester starts and we are faced with yet another variant of this disease, concern and stress amongst students and faculty are bound to be higher than ever. However, when I was asked what would be one thing I thought adults in our lives might need to hear, I thought this: we miss our relationships. We crave the long-lasting opportunities to cultivate those. So on Monday, before we began the semester, I asked them to understand that we know we need to learn the disciplines and to please hear that we need to be seen and heard before that can begin to happen. Out of all of the classes that I have taken throughout high school, the ones that I remember the most and the ones that I succeeded the most in are ones where relationships and community come first. Creating a school-wide community is difficult, even more so in the time of a pandemic, so that community needs to start in the classroom. Oftentimes, the start of the second semester is overlooked. In August, the first week of school is often filled with icebreakers and get-to-know-you activities. We recognize that January energy is not August energy, but in the second semester, we simply just jump into school. If I am being completely honest with you, when I walked into every single one of my classes on Tuesday, I saw some faces that I did not recognize. Every single semester, we are surrounded by new people who we have never interacted with before. Students, please take the time to get to know each other and to get to know your teachers. I have asked them to do the same. We know that time is precious, but I can guarantee you that if this time is taken to begin to create that community, that our learning will only improve. We will be able to grow as a class, help each other out with our assignments, and feel more comfortable speaking up and potentially making mistakes. The relationship between students and teachers is so much more than coming to class and turning in our homework. And our relationships amongst each other can be so much more than simply sitting behind someone in class. I challenge you all to find one person today in one of your classes that you may not know and start a conversation with them. In this time of uncertainty, we need the stability of community within our classes and our relationships, and I know that if we work together, we can create something truly amazing. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michaela Bailey, and I am currently in my senior year here at the Academy, and I am a part of Dorm Council. My social views as a minority student are definitely very progressive because I come from a very open-minded place. I'm a Black, gay woman, so when it comes down to being outside of the box, that is very much my definition because I am a minority in so many ways. I am also a very bold person in general, meaning when I have something I want to say, I will say it. As great as these qualities are, when I came to St. J, it was an extreme culture shock because there weren't as many people who were like me in these ways and had very different views than I did. This leads me to what I am here to talk about today, which is how can we as a community create a safe environment for all voices to feel heard, but also in a manner where everyone feels like they are being heard. My personal experience with having tough conversations mainly happened in my rhetoric writing class. This was because in this classroom, I knew I was safe to express my own opinions, but I was also led down this path to really voice my thoughts. As teachers, you control what happens in the classroom, and as that person, I challenge you all to really think of ways you can prompt your students to think deeply with the content you present to us. This is exactly what we want because students will learn to absorb so much more when they feel as though they are connected to one's learning in more ways than just on the surface. Now, I understand that not all students are willing to jump right into the question that is asked, and sometimes it can feel like you are pulling teeth to start a class discussion. Me being the student I am, I was consistently wanting to jump in these conversations, even if they were a bit uncomfortable at times. But not all students will feel this way. What we need is for you to continue to ask questions about ourselves to allow us to get comfortable with one another. One thing I know that helped me speak up when asked more difficult questions is that I trusted the students in my class. We often worry that our peers will judge us for the things that we say, and this causes us to not say anything at all. So a way to keep students from feeling this way is by bonding the class and starting with smaller prompts and activities that students will feel more comfortable participating in. I also encourage you as teachers to dive into these questions and activities yourselves, so it's not only between the students, but also with you, so the overall class feels connected. Conversations like these empower student voices and help us see that we can and will have different opinions with others. Help us hear other viewpoints and disagree respectfully. This is a skill that we as students lack at times when we feel strongly about things. And as teachers, you can show your students that there is a way to go about those conversations without shutting the other person down. Having uncomfortable conversations is necessary. Help us to learn to take a step back and hear other viewpoints as well. When all voices feel heard and respected, it allows for real communication. We should be able to manage having a conversation with someone in a respectful manner, even if they don't have the same opinions as us. We may not always agree, but it is important to leave the conversation with more knowledge than you came in with. Thank you.
So that concludes our speakers for today. We hope that through our talks, you have gained a little bit more insight into our hopes for the Academy in the future. It will take the help and enthusiasm of all of you to see it come to fruition. If you have any questions or interests in the work we've done, feel free to email any of us directly. And if you are interested in SDLC or similar opportunities, stop by the guidance office and talk to Mrs. Reed. The Academy has come so far just in these past few years, and for that we are proud. But every day there is something we can do to make the future a little bit brighter. Thank you for listening to our speeches, and we hope that we have encouraged you to help us help one another make the Academy a warmer, more inclusive place. Thank you.
Thank you again to all of you who have taken the time and had the courage to come up and speak to all of us. We felt really compelled as the faculty and staff that the students would need to hear their stories as well. And so I appreciate your courage coming forward and launching us into a start of a better place. Have a great day, everybody.